which we're going to expect at every meeting, right? And I am very pleased with that. I also, in the interest of not wanting to hurt a new member of my committee, neglected to welcome Senator Moran as a new member of this committee. So, well, a returning, well, that's why I didn't say anything, because you're returning. In any event, I didn't want to chance those hurt feelings, since mine have been hurt all day by denigrating my mountains, but we won't get into that any longer. So we're going to go to second round, and we'll do it in the same order as the folks that were here. Before I begin my round, I would like to put into the record a January 3rd support letter from the former chairman of the Suffolk County Water Authority, which states, the EPA requires strong leadership that balances the complexities of environmental protection with the practical needs of communities across the country. Mr. Zeldin's track record on Long Island exemplifies his ability to lead with compassion, decisiveness, and a clear focus on results. He has already shown his dedication to the values that the EPA upholds, and I'm confident will continue to champion these priorities on a national scale. And I ask unanimous consent, which I'll grant myself, to enter this into the record. I would say there are always no better advocates than our local advocates who actually work with us all the time, and obviously you have a very strong constituency there. I'm going to ask quickly just a couple questions. Class 6 wells, which are used to inject carbon dioxide into deep rock formations, advancing carbon capture and storage technologies, obviously very important to my state. We provided EPA funding through the IIJA for to have the EPA grant state primacy for Class 6 wells, since they constitute a different aspect of permitting. And to date, only 3 of these states have been granted Class 6 primacy. And the EPA has 150 permit applications pending for approval. We have 3 Class 6 well projects under review, and the proposed final action granting West Virginia our state primacy was published in the Federal Register on November the 25th. This is going to be very important to us, as we had testimony last year that the North Dakota, who has primacy, was able to permit, I think, 7 wells in a short period of time, whereas the EPA, as they were trying to permit under their federal authority, it took them over many more years the time to permit just 3. So you can see how those who, again, who are closest to the situation have the ability to make good decisions. So will you prioritize the timely completion of West Virginia's Class 6 permitting process and work with me to ensure that the EPA is a resource rather than a barrier in this transition?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. You mentioned permitting, and I was very pleased to hear Senator Whitehouse mention permitting reform. We've had lots of stops and starts over the last probably 2 to 3 years on this very issue, and it's holding up construction of critical energy, manufacturing, infrastructure, transportation, doesn't matter what kind of energy, renewable energy, pipelines, whatever. So we need to make it easier to build in America. I believe that's President Trump's vision as well, by modernizing and streamlining our environmental review and permitting processes. Congressman Zeldin, what opportunities do you see for EPA to be able to establish more efficient and predictable permitting processes, in addition to working with all of the other agencies that play a part in this vital decisions?
And Chairman Capito, that last part of your question is key for different agencies to be able to work with each other, collaborating with each other, and also for agencies to be able to collaborate with Congress on any opportunities that Congress sees to pursue permitting reform as well. As far as EPA jurisdiction goes, we see a role of the EPA, for example, as it relates to environmental impact statements. There are different issues where there will be opportunities for the EPA to follow its obligations under the law. There's a possibility that Congress might choose to make changes to the law on items that are under EPA jurisdiction. I would look forward to doing my part to make sure that the EPA is not holding up any opportunities to be able to pursue sound applications that otherwise would be and should be approved.
Yeah, I think a lot of times in the public domain, permitting reform means to certain people skirting the rules or breezing through environmental reviews without really taking them seriously or actually having them science-based, as we've talked a lot about today. That's not what permitting reform means. Permitting reforms means make these environmental, clean air, clean water rules and others and other agencies work together and work so that we are getting the right result of clean air, clean water, but we're able to move forward. And so I look forward to that. Here's another West Virginia issue very quickly, and it's the Muddy Creek Restoration Project. It's 19 miles of waterways that has acid mine drainage. And West Virginia went about in coordination with the past Trump administration, and it was initially championed by the Biden administration to deliver real results in cleaning up this area of our state. It was a true win-win. The Biden administration, for some reason, which we can't figure out, flip-flopped on this, and they just started putting more burdensome, costly, and a much, much slower cleanup process. So you're still having your acid mine drainage while we're getting hung up here. It threatens projects like Muddy Creek and discourages other communities from pursuing similar efforts to achieve real environmental remediation and benefits. Will you commit to me, working with me in the state, to try to reverse these counterproductive changes and cut the red tape and restore this for more cost-effective but also better environmental results?
Yes, Chairman Capito, I know how much of a priority this is. You've been outspoken on this issue. It's my commitment to work with you as soon as, if confirmed, as soon as I'm in that position, I'd welcome that opportunity.
Thank you. Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you again, Chairman. Mr. Zeldin, I have something of a life experience PhD in fossil fuel pressure politics, and they'll be coming after you hard, and they'll be feeling very entitled based on their political spending toward a Trump victory. I have two questions when you're faced with that. The first is that prominent voices in Trump world have been saying that it is important to traumatize EPA's workforce to drive them out. They've been saying that it's important to cut EPA's workforce by 2/3 or more, not just Washington, but the field, the entire organization. And they've been saying that it's important to destroy the professional civil service protections of EPA's workforce. How do you respond to those three threats?
Senator Whitehouse, as I've stated earlier, my desire, if confirmed as EPA administrator, is to increase productivity of the EPA. I want to be able to help lead this agency in a way that all of you on both sides of the aisle can be proud of, for us to be accountable and transparent. I want maximum collaboration, not just with Congress, but internally within the EPA. I've been hugely impressed with the level of talent stepping up to serve at EPA. And that is the pressure that I am feeling at this moment, is to bring out the best of EPA to make sure that we are fulfilling our mission of protecting public health and the environment.
You will not support executing on those three threats.
My commitment to you is exactly as I had stated, Senator Whitehouse, and I am not coming into this position with any threat. My position as I sit here is a promise, it is an obligation, and it is a commitment to do my part, to do the best job possible in leading the EPA to fulfill its mission in a way that follows its obligation under the law and is one that this committee can be proud of.
The second question that I have is that while you've made a lot of good and sound statements here today, it's one thing to say things in this environment, and it's another thing to stand by those guns when the pressure comes at you. And if you look at your past, if you look at your influence and advocacy work with American First Policy Institute and America First Works, the big donors have been pharma, the massive corporate lobby, Goldman Sachs, a Morgan Stanley fund, and a billionaire fracking CEO. We don't know who the rest of the donors are because AFPI keeps much of their donor list secret, but we do know of those. Your fellow board members at America First Works include the billionaire CEO Fracker, the former CEO of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, which I view as a very significant player in the fossil fuel-funded climate denial armada, the successor to that Texas Public Policy Foundation CEO, and a third individual called the Chief of Intelligence and Research at that same, in my view, climate denial front group. In your political work, you've taken nearly $300,000 from the oil and gas industry back to 2007. You've had large campaign support from Koch Incorporated, which gave a total of about $60,000 when you count up all the contributions to PACs and campaign funds. David Koch himself maxed out to you, and Koch PAC gave $20,000 to your Lee PAC. In the wake of being so surrounded with so much corporate and fossil fuel influence, I want to give you two opportunities. One is to answer to me now, how is it that you will be able to separate yourself from the influence of these people and these interests when they come demanding things that they think they've earned politically? And I'll also turn that into a QFR so that you can, with a little bit more basis for reflection, make a more complete answer. So with that, over to you for your response, sir.
Senator, I don't need any extra time for reflection on that one. There is no person who has ever provided any level of support to me or anyone else who has any special influence with me. When I was in the Army, I wore around my dog tags the 7 Army values. The acronym is leadership: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. It is important for me to have always been able to approach this position with a clear conscience to make decisions that I can live with for my entire life. There is no dollar, large or small, that can influence the decisions that I make, who has access to me, and how I am ruling in my obligations under the law. Senator, I'm happy to enthusiastically answer that question on any day on the spot, and I would never need any extra amount of time of reflection.
Well, good luck standing up to these guys, because they're going to come at you.